I bet you're a bit like me. You've been following the war in Ukraine and you want a peaceful resolution, but it's not entirely clear what's been happening there. The war started in 2014, but all we see on the news are stories like these.
As Ukraine and Russia enter their fourth year of war.
Tonight on this, the third anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And
in the now 2 years of war in Ukraine.
Ukraine marks 1 year of war.
Journalists oversimplified the story, and I was disappointed because even though I was following the news, I still couldn't get the full picture. So I decided I had to go to Ukraine to see for myself. I'm Samuel Teixeira with LP's Pro, and this is what I learned.
The war started in 2014. Revolution of Dignity, we used to call it Maidan at the time. So it was basically after the government has changed, so there was no more corrupt government in Ukraine.
That's the first time in the history the entire world heard that Ukraine is not Russia.
There was a huge protest, probably the biggest one ever, like in Kyiv. Maybe like 1 million of people were here on the square. And it was December 1st of 2013. I've also been there.
And I've seen Euromaidan, and those people made a huge impact on our future lives.
And Russia, they kind of didn't like it.
But Russia and Ukraine share a long history, and 2014 was not the first conflict between them.
They used to exploit us for so many years, being a Russian empire, then being a kind of ruler of the Soviet Union. They used to exploit Ukraine.
This is how Ukrainians see it. But how do Russians think the war started? And what do they think about this situation?
It is entirely a product of the 2014 coup.
Russians saw the Euromaidan protests that removed elected Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych as a coup.
Maidan did not bring Ukraine any closer to democracy and progress. It led Ukraine into an impasse, pushed the country into the abyss of civil war.
Russia thought it was following the rules of the West when it tried to strike a trade deal with the Yanukovych government. They felt betrayed when Ukraine replaced its elected leader with a government hostile toward Russia.
The opposition came to power. Some Ukrainians didn't accept the change and wanted to fight with arms against it in the Donbas territory in Lugansk.
War broke out, but both sides wanted the same thing: security and self-determination. If we all share the same goals, why can't we live together in peace? What do we need to end this war?
So I think that organizations like NATO are important to avoid the fight, to prevent actually the necessity of military.
I think we should establish clear borders and boundaries. I think long term it would make sense for Ukraine to be part of NATO, same as other countries. It just makes it, I think, for a better, long-lasting peace.
Common wisdom is that Ukraine joining NATO would be intolerable for Russia. But according to Putin,
the question is not about NATO itself. It merely serves as a tool of US foreign policy.
So there must be more to this story and the Russian perspective on this war.
We had to stop that atrocity, that genocide of the millions of people who live there and who pinned their hopes on Russia, on all of us. Ukrainian society was faced with the rise of far-right nationalism, which rapidly developed into aggressive Russophobia.
Some Russian speakers in Crimea and eastern Ukraine felt threatened, but genocide, that's a strong term that doesn't quite fit here, though it does speak to Putin's mindset. Still, how could Ukrainians and Russians view this war so differently? I realized that the people in Ukraine couldn't give me the full story either, so I spoke to Artem. He lives in Spain, but was born in Crimea. He left when he was 12.
I have family on both sides, Ukrainians and Russians, so for me, it's a conflict that makes no sense.
I asked him what he thought was necessary for peace in the region.
Let people be at ease. Let them be able to decide how to live in their homes so that they don't have to worry about the bombings. That would be the first thing to do, and then sit down and talk things over and, I don't know, find a solution.
Peace starts with understanding the other side. For this war to end, we first need to get the story straight. Remember the clips we showed you at the beginning? Now you have the facts. Go. Make peace.